What's going on, everyone? Welcome back again to another video. In today's video, it's basically like a part 2 of the video I uploaded a couple days ago where I tested out the new Nissan Z. This that just came out. So obviously we had a first look at it and basically just tested out to see what it was like. I built mine for drifting because I felt like it deserves to be a drift car, you know, front engine, rear wheel drive. We gave it 900 horsepower with the standard engine that's in it, and it was fantastic to drive. It's an absolute joy to drive this thing. It's one of the easiest cars to slide in this game, in my opinion. It is wonderful to slide. Really, really, really good. But I've had a comment saying that it surprised this guy of how terrible it was, and it doesn't handle well. So in today's video, I'm going to be changing and testing this out as a car, and building it even as a car that could handle well. Now, I'm going to go ahead and try it completely stock, completely standard, which is part of this this week's monthly rivals, and we get to, like I said, try it out completely stock on this city circuit here. There's probably not that many people that have done this event. It's only a day old right now. So if I go to the world, it actually isn't even gonna tell me how many people have done this. Let's just sort of have like a little bit of a look, kind of just like in the ballpark of how many people have actually done this. Maybe about 100,000 people, if not more. 200,000 people, something like that. I don't know exactly, but we get to try it out completely stock, and of course then afterwards I'm gonna add a bunch of stuff, a bunch of mods. I'm gonna take it out on a track and try it out. Yes, I said on a track because we actually have a track in this game to test cars out on a little bit, and just to see if building this thing even just slightly, we could get it to be kind of decent. So we'll see if that works. Now, I'm going to be running this thing with no assists as usual, except for ABS. Nothing's really changed. But I'm going to try my best, obviously, to set a time and try to see what this thing is actually like to drive. Someone has also said to me that I should try and compare this thing with the 370s and the 350s. It's just gonna be significantly faster, right? It's got about 400 horsepower. It is going to be faster than those guys. I still stand about my thought that I said the other day in the previous video, where I did say that this is underpowered for what it is for a sports car. 400 horsepower is just not enough in this day and age. I feel like it deserves to be a little bit faster. I just do. Like I said, back in the early 2000s when the 350 was out and the 370 was out, you know, getting around 400 horsepower there is very, very good for a sports car, but nowadays I feel like it's just not enough. And I have had someone said to me in one of the previous videos as well that the price of this thing, and I was comparing it to like an M4 or something, the price is like half the price of an M4, but that's only if you count the price of this thing if you buy it and build it yourself from like the Nissan website. And I don't know when you're actually ever going to get that car, because I've seen people complain about the amount of car, like they just cannot, they don't get their cars until I don't know how long. And if you go and buy it straight from a dealer, they mark up the price like crazy. I'm pretty sure that this car isn't actually coming to Europe at all, so I can't really say anything about the car in that regard, but I don't know. I don't know what else I can really say about it. I just feel like it's a little bit underpowered for a sports car. Oh, so this guy just said that this thing doesn't have any rear grip or rear wheel grip. It's actually, you're kind of wrong. It's very, very well balanced, and that's the one thing that I said in my previous video as well. Like the actual balance of this car, and I feel like you know, the driving of this car is very, very good. Like, I never said that it was going to be a bad car to drive. I never said that it was going to be a bad car to handle. But again, it's still very new in this game. People have already tested out, you know, basic tunes and stuff like that on it. And I've already said that it's not really a meta car, but it's very, like, meh. So we'll see. We'll see what sort of tune I can come up with this car, and we'll get it to drive and grip up. And again, like I said, I'm going to test it out on an actual track, just to see what sort of time we get with it and if I can get it to be nice and quick. So I'm probably going to either bring it to the top of its class or the class above it, so we'll see what that's like. But for right now, I'm just trying to test this thing out completely stock. Getting a tiny bit of understeer with it, feel like I should be able to go a little bit faster with this car. It's low A class from what I've gathered so far. So yeah, so far pretty easy to control on every single corner. It's just like no real challenge. The 400 horsepower is, like I said, a little underpowered, but I guess it kind of works well with this guy right now. How much does this thing actually weigh? I should probably have a look at that. I really do wonder. I really do wonder how much this thing actually weighs. It probably doesn't weigh that much either. Yeah. I actually don't mind the way it drives. There's just like no real like excitement in driving it. I just don't feel like there's any flair or anything to it. Like it's just very precise, and that's pretty much it. And like I said, the lack of power, there's not much flair or anything. You just sort of put it into a corner and you can floor it into the corner as well, and it's fine. It won't like step out on you or anything like that. So see, like there's like the tiniest bit of slip. The tiniest bit of slip. I don't even have the proper driving line on this track, but I'm still able to keep this thing in check very easily because, like I said, of the lack of power. Really smooth lap. 1:33. We'll leave it there. Yeah. I wanted to just keep going around a little bit more just to see what sort of time I can actually get with it. It's good. It's good. It's like, it's very like average. Like I feel like it's easy to control the slip of those tires. It's, like I said, it's not very powerful, so you know, it's kind of easy for that track, for this car to basically go on that track. So yeah. Okay. Let's give it a bunch more power and build this thing to the top of a class. It's either A class, and I'm gonna try build it to. I'll probably build it to the top of A class because I think the top of A class could be kind of good for this guy. But we'll see what sort of mods can I actually add onto it to make it a better car, pretty much. Before we do any of that, let's have a look where I'm in the world. There's 116,000. I'm 690th in the world, which is kind of okay, I guess. Out of 116,000 players on this list of people that have actually tried this thing. VQ is 69th. Pretty sick, so you can definitely get this thing to be much faster than my runs there. But now, like I said, I want to go ahead and do a build on this thing. So let's go over to the festival.
Arcade event will begin shortly.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Enjoy.
Okay. Yeah, shush. Now, like I said, let's do stuff to this thing. I have this one that I have right now, obviously built. So I'm gonna go ahead and pretty much reset all of the upgrades. So this is back to stock, completely stock, and I'm gonna focus on a bunch of race parts and add those on to this car. So I'm already gonna add aero. I feel like aero is gonna make a huge difference with this car, with the level of grip, front and rear. So I'm definitely gonna do that. I'm gonna build this thing over into A class. I think we can add some much better tires on this thing. You can see the difference in the handling, that it goes up by quite a lot. the semi-slick tires versus the actual fully slick tires, you can see the handling go up, but it doesn't go up by much more. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is just putting the semi-slick tires on this thing. My actual grip level goes up by quite a bit just by doing this. It weighs 1,600 kilos as well. So I'm just going to do that. I think that's going to make a huge difference in terms of tires. It's on... let me go back to this. Am I blind? Oh, it's track width. I'm such an idiot. I was looking at it, I was like, why is it not telling me in millimeters, like how wide the tires are? So it's on 255s in the front and 275s in the rear. I think that's fine for the amount of power that this actually makes. I think that's perfectly fine. I definitely do think that we need to have a race suspension setup, which means I get to adjust a lot of the stuff on it. And now, with just the weight reduction, this thing already is in a much higher class. So A class now, 400 horsepower, 1,307 kilos, basically much grippier tires. I've just been looking and I don't know if it's actually worth getting rid of all the 300 kilos of weight. We can get rid of a bit of it, but I kind of want to have like a good balance of weight, weight loss versus the amount of power being added onto this thing. So I kind of want to have this thing, like I said, have a good mix of all of that. So we're 784 now. I honestly do think that the race transmission is going to make a big difference, so that's why I bought that instead. So let's see if we can cancel out a bit of that and have it make a little bit more power. I think cams is a good amount. 444 with 500 newton meters of torque. It goes up by a little bit. Okay, let's try it like this. Let's try it with this setup, and I'll adjust a bunch of stuff on it and see what it's like to drive. I'm going to test it out on the track as well, and then see if it's any better. Very basic tune that I'm going to slap onto this thing just to see what it's like. Alright, let's see what it's like. So, slightly more power, slightly less weight, better tires, and a lot more aero grip. Should be interesting. Gear ratio is also set up to be short. And again, aero is made... Okay, it definitely turns in much tighter than before. Also, I set up the diff so it locks... It locks up pretty... I don't know, I set it up the way I think it should be set up on rear-wheel drive cars. And we'll see what a basic setup is like on this thing. Pretty much the way I build all the rest of my cars. I don't know about the brakes, what they're like. Okay, a little wide on that, so we need to slow down a little earlier. It's much faster than the stock one we've been driving. Whether it's the transmission and the gear ratios, the power and weight ratio now as well is different. Even the grip when I'm slowing down is very good. Turn-in is much tighter. I mean, obviously now this car isn't completely stock, but I'm just saying, like, for people pretty much saying that this thing sucks, maybe you're just bad with it. It's not bad at all. Probably should have done like a nice run with this car on this track. Completely stock and then tried it again, but you know what? I'm gonna do it like this. And I'm gonna reset this car to stock, and I'll do a stock run as well so you can compare times. And we'll see exactly what this thing is like. Doesn't sound particularly great, let's just say that. The grip is immensely different compared to when I was driving it on in that Rivals event. Tiny bit of slip there, but that's okay. Again, it's controlled. Let's see what sort of time we can squeeze out with this. I love that this track is in the game, man. I love that the person has made this thing. I think he might have taken it down though, unfortunately. I think he's changing something. Or if he's stopped sharing it, I don't know if he's made a mistake by taking it down or what, but in the previous video that I uploaded, I've had a bunch of people comment that, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I've had a bunch of people comment that the shake-out doesn't work anymore, so I just favorited the track pretty much, and then I can just go back onto it whenever I feel like it. Unless he fully takes it down, which I don't think he took it down, but I think he might have changed something on it. I don't know. Maybe he replaced it. I don't know how I'm still playing it, but some people can't. Okay. I like the gear ratios, I think, for this track. They're pretty decent. Made them just short enough. Not too short though, but just short enough. And then same with the aero. I sort of added a bunch of downforce to the front, but not too much on the rear because I wanted this thing to kind of rotate a little bit into the corner, which is basically the same way I build my diffs as well. And then same with my suspension setup is I basically have a very basic setup, very basic tune. There's a bunch of different tutorials and things you can watch online of people building their cars and stuff like that, and you can kind of learn from there, but when you put it into practice and you put it on the cars, you'll know kind of what works and what doesn't work, you know what I mean? And especially after you play a lot of Forza, you know what's good and what's bad. Okay. So far my best lap time was a 142.9. Let's absolutely smash that this time around. Here I'm going to try to slow down a little earlier. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And then just ease on the power pretty much on the second. Because if I know if I go full throttle this time around, especially with that little bit of extra torque and a little bit of extra power, those rear wheels will slip even if I have upgraded tires. Bad cornering on this side. That wasn't great, but made it work somehow. Here I have to be careful not to go too fast, because this, I have to slam on the brakes. Again, just sort of ease on the power. Slight lift off there. In third in the carousel. Could go a little bit on the inside here. Again, just try to be careful. Yeah, this, if you floor it with this thing, it will end up spinning those rear wheels. So you've got to be careful. Here, fourth is perfect for this, and then slam down under the power on the way out. Again, lots and lots of grip here, so try to go as fast as possible. Now that's a 140, everyone. $140. Very, very easy 140. With some bad cornering, still pulled a 140. That's not bad. I can kind of compare this thing. We can try and compare it to another car that I've made. That's at the top of A-class. I feel like if I compare it to the stock car, we can see kind of improvements, but it just wouldn't be fair, you know, if I do compare it to the stock car, because we know it's going to be faster than the stock car. But I can compare another really, really fast A-class car to this thing. And we'll be able to see what sort of times we can actually squeeze out with that car compared to this one. I like the way this rotates into the corner though. I really, really like it. The fact that it's rear-wheel drive just makes it so much better and so much more fun to drive. And for example, if it was all-wheel drive. But I think it does make it a tiny bit slower. Well, that was bad. We'll just end it there. What was it? 139.519. So it took me 9 laps to do a nice clean run with this thing. So we'll try that again. 139.5. Let's try it in my super OP A-class car and see what the difference is between this car and that car. And see if it is as bad as people say that this car actually is. Or, sorry, as disappointing. Because I don't think it's bad. I honestly don't think it's that bad. So this is the car I'm going to be comparing it to. It has much less power, but much less weight. But I do think that this has much more grip. So I think in the corners, I honestly do think that this would absolutely outrun that that new Z. But I think the Z would kind of keep up with it. Now, my most important thing to keep in mind is that this car is not built for this track at all. At all. This was built for the Golden Toga, which is a super tight and technical track. It was not built for this. So we'll see. Okay, brakes are insane with this thing, so I don't have to slow down as much. Or as early as the Z. This one is also a 6-speed instead of the 5-speed that the Z is set up to be. But yeah, much better tires, brakes, much lighter. Wow. Wow. Just the absolute sheer confidence I have with this car around corners is insane. It's the first time I'm actually trying the STI on this track. I'm slowing down too much. I mean, I'm just not expecting this thing to take these corners as quickly as it's doing. And then same with the braking. Like, the braking is just insane with this car. Acceleration out of corners as well. Very, very impressive. Like, look at the grip of this thing around the carousel. That's mad. It's such a good car. We'll see what the very, very first lap is gonna do. Do I actually need to slow down for this? Yeah, a little bit. I don't actually have to brake though. I can just go pretty much just slightly lift off and then go flat out. So there's a 142. Okay, I need to turn it much tighter than that. So this was slower already. Again, like I said, it's not built for this track. And it's lacking a lot more power. But the fact that it's only 2.2 seconds behind on the very first lap is very impressive. Of this car, not the Z. I think I maybe need to make this thing rotate a little bit more. And by that I mean I need to get the front end to grip up a little bit tighter. And then throw that back end out a little bit. I think for this track it's probably better to do that. The Golden Toga though, like this is perfect for the Golden Toga. Slight lift off the ground there. Basically getting this thing to slide, which obviously I don't want to, but okay. Much better corner out of there. And this should be like a 141, I think. Oh god, I've already beaten it. 139.3. See what I mean? Like this car being so good around corners. But it's only by 0.2 of a second. I mean, it is the third lap out of 10 though. So I think I can absolutely smash the Z. But it's not that slow. It's really not that slow at all. Yeah, I don't consider, like, this is the fastest A-Class car that I have right now. And the best handling one. But, like, I'm comparing the Z to it. That hop there was kind of annoying. I made my front wheels lift off the ground, so kind of skidded a little wide. Okay. Okay. I feel like this is going to be a very similar time. Here again. Yeah. I mean, coming out of the corner of that one, like, super easy. Very similar time? Yeah, just a little bit slower. That still baffles me, the brakes on this thing. They're unbelievably good. It took a little bit until I got used to the flow of this car, but we pulled a 137.8. Very similar amount of laps as the Z. Listen, I never said that the Z was the best A-Class car in the game or the best class for handling in the game, but I mean, it keeps up with this thing. I know it's a couple seconds slower, but it is also rear-wheel drive. But yeah, again, this is just in a completely different league of its own. But the Z isn't a slow car. I don't think it's a slow car. I think with some better tuning and some better mods, you'll probably get the Z to be a little bit quicker, and obviously with some better driving. But like I said, this is the fastest A-Class car that I have right now, and like I said, it's only a tiny bit slower than it. So, verdict. It's not the best car in the game. It's not the best handling car in the game. It is still a good car though. For people saying that they're disappointed with the way it drives, just drive better, honestly, because it's really not as bad as people make it out to be. I genuinely like it. I think it's a good car to drive. If you're good with driving the cars, I think you should have quite a bit of fun driving this thing. I think because the fact that it's rear-wheel drive as well compared to the STI, it makes it a little bit more lively and makes you a little bit more aware of slip and stuff like that. It's a good car. It's a fun car to race with as well. Again, just drive better. That's pretty much all I have to say about the Z. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's different video on basically kind of shaking this thing down and seeing what sort of mods and stuff like that we can do to it. But I couldn't dare to bring this thing up into S1 because the Viper's there, right? The Anniversary Edition Viper's up there, so I know for a fact that this won't be anywhere near close to that, but yeah. Well, that's it. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.